Hello and welcome to Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the podcast where we cover 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. Before we get into today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about our Patreon. Just for $5 a month, you get fun bonus episodes where we do fun things like personality quizzes and do personal movie rankings over there. And you help support the show, help us get streaming services, and you help fund movies like the one we are covering today. And today we're talking about Disco from 2017, directed by Brad Jones, a Patreon exclusive movie. You can only get this through Brad Jones' Patreon. So this might be our most obscure movie we've talked about.
I guess compared to that or Jesus Bro, but I get that's weird. I guess less people have seen
I think so
than Jesus Bro.
At least on Letterboxd, only 57 people have seen Disco and have put it down on here. And then Jesus Bro, it says 222 people have watched. So I guess we're getting even deeper down the well.
Yeah, watch this be our least viewed episode.
Probably, but that's okay. We're having fun.
We're having a good time here.
We're kind of making it a Christmas tradition. So if you remember last year around Christmas time, we actually did another Brad Jones movie. We just mentioned it, Jesus Bro. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, before we even talk about it, I think we should explain again who Brad Jones is.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I highly doubt, or I bet you most people don't know. Brad Jones is an internet critic, most famous for his role as the cinema snob, and he kind of reviews the same types of movies that we do, except he does a whole character, a whole bit with it. He does a lot of stuff with a nostalgia critic who is.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm in character right now.
You play a character?
I don't. All the opinions that I say, I actually like. It's the opposite of how I actually feel.
Oh, it's all sarcasm.
I hate Godzilla, and I love The Wire.
Exactly. Huh? That's interesting. Good to know. So that means we disagree on a lot of things now.
Oh, okay.
That's fun. But he's part of like the nostalgia critic gang, who is like a really popular internet reviewer. Just like it was really popular at one time. I would say it's not quite as popular now.
No.
Yeah. It's kind of a fad that's died out, but Brad Jones still does stuff, still does a lot of stuff. And I want to say this movie 2017 was right before that whole Channel Awesome, which is this website they ran before it really fell apart.
Well, yeah, because this actually came out the same year as Jesus Bro, and Alison Pregler, Oscurus Lupa, who is another internet reviewer, is in this movie, and since then they had a falling out. So that's a giveaway right there. That's before any of that controversy.
Yeah, because I guess I don't want to get too deep into it, but Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic who runs Channel Awesome, will come to find out not really the best person, and the working conditions for Channel Awesome were pretty awful. But Cinema Snob Brad Jones is still a part of Channel Awesome. I don't think he's really left their crew at all.
No, they still do videos together, him and Doug. So they're very much still friends, and they're both live in the Chicago area, so they are very closely affiliated. But they were, probably like 10, 12 years ago, something like that. They were huge. I used to love like watching all their videos, and it was always just like, can't wait for the next nostalgia critic or cinema snob or the Channel Awesome videos.
Yeah, same here. I love Channel Awesome, like back in the day when it was in its prime. I thought it was great because I guess you didn't really find a lot of content like that at the time, of like just people really talking about nerdy things that you enjoy, just like weird movies or nostalgic movies. There was just something fun about it.
And each person had like a different genre they covered. It's like nostalgia critic is like reviewing old kids movies that you remember watching that are not as good anymore. Cinema Stomp, like you said, does trashier movies, or somebody does sci-fi, or somebody does horror, just stuff like that. So it was a wide array of different talents, but unfortunately, I think it got kind of oversaturated,
It
and
did.
and even now, I mean, there's a dime a dozen for these like reviewers, but
Yeah.
not nearly as popular as it is. But it's kind of shifted over to, I guess, like reactionary content now.
Yeah, where it's just like they have to be watching it. It's not like a thought out written review. It's like, oh, I'm reacting to it in the moment. Um, and looking back on that whole era, the two bigs that I would say, Nostalgia Critic and Cinema Snob. Nostalgia Critic's really hard to go back to, but I find Cinema Snob to actually be okay. I can still watch a Cinema Snob episode. I don't think I like it as much, but I don't think it's quite as bad, I guess.
No, I totally agree. I mean, Doug, it's his humor gets kind of old, but Cinema
Yeah.
Snob, he's been pretty consistent. Although
Yeah.
I can't say I kind of fell out of love with a
Yeah.
lot of those videos, so I really don't watch any of the content anymore. But like I said before we do these episodes, I always try to go back and watch at least one
Okay.
beforehand, and I'm just like, okay, like it's about like what I remember it.
I mean, that's a good reaction, right? Not why did I ever like this?
No, I've never been anything like that, but the cinema, maybe nostalgic critic. I think that, but
No, even with Nostalgia Critic, I feel like I get it, but there's definitely some reviewers that I watched on Channel Awesome that I do not understand why I watched. One of them who makes a cameo in this movie, atop the fourth wall, Linkara, the Lightbringer. I don't. I would watch his videos, and I don't think I even enjoyed them. I would just put them on. I don't know why. And I'm like, why did I ever do this to myself?
I tried even back then. I did not like Linkara because imagine you just get a comic book and you just read it to somebody, and you're like, that's my review. I reviewed it. I read it.
Yeah, he reads it in silly voice. Well, not really in silly voices. His silly voice, because he's got such an interesting voice.
It's me, the Lightbringer.
That's perfect. That was brilliant. I hope to hear more impressions
Yeah.
by the end of the night.
Oh god, there's so many. But
There is. I think you definitely did a Brad Jones on the
Yeah.
Jesus Bro episode.
Oh yeah. Well, we've when it's appropriate, I will do it. But
yes. But I guess getting into today's movie, which is from 2017, that is Disco. Brad Jones as a director has actually made different things. If you followed us before Drive and Double Feature, we reviewed Paranoia. He actually kind of sits down and tries to make, like, I guess, dramas or a little more serious movies. Doug Walker also made movies, but those were like, oh, let's get the crew together and make comedies, kind of deal. This is like something different.
Well, yeah, and he didn't actually direct Paranoia. He just wrote Paranoia. I'm trying to remember. I don't think he directed Jesus Bro either.
He did not. The guy who made the Cinema Snob movie made Jesus Bro.
And Paranoia.
Gotcha. So they just team up together. So this is like one of the few movies. I mean, I think this is one of the few movies that Brad Jones has actually directed himself.
Feature length, yeah.
Feature length, yeah. And at an hour 24 minutes, and my God, they stretched this sucker out to feature length.
Yeah, it's I guess we could get right into it. It's not a very good movie for me, but
yeah,
if I was gonna choose, I would watch this over Jesus Bro.
I would too. So I don't hate this movie. At least I don't hate it as much as I thought I would. I thought I would just like really not like this, but I think it's not good, but it has its moments, and it's actually I laughed a couple times, and I can appreciate that.
Well, so I mean, there's a couple of big differences. I think that makes this one a little more likable is for one, Jesus Bro actually had like a budget, and it actually looked like a movie. I mean, it looked like an actual like not a big budget, but a somewhat like with HD cameras and everything. And uh, this one, I mean, done the same year, and clearly this has no budget because it looks like you just bust out your camcorder or you just break out your phone from like your iPhone 4 and like, I'm filming a movie.
I'm making a movie. Yeah, I think the most budget that probably went into this is renting the place out. Because being friends with Doug Walker is probably great because you can get costumes and wigs out of his giant warehouse that he has for his skits and stuff.
And that makes an appearance in this movie.
It does, which is so weird to me. But yeah, no, what's interesting about this movie is it's also really sincere. And I actually kind of appreciated that. I think it tried its best to tell a touching story. I don't think I was I didn't get into that drama or anything. I wasn't touched. This movie did not touch me, but it was sincere. I felt like it came from a nice place.
Yeah, I mean, acting is not very good.
No,
but at all. It's not shot very well either, and sound quality is very poor. But
yes.
But it has that earnest quality of a couple of friends getting together and hey, let's make a movie type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of like makes it that little underdog type of contender, which that's the kind of stuff I was looking for, because after Jesus, bro, it like left such a bad taste where I'm just like, because that one, Jesus, bro, was different because it was a full on like slapstick comedy with like really, really bad jokes. And then this one there's jokes, but it's trying to be serious.
Yeah, it's like a solid mix. Like it's mainly a drama, but it has, it doesn't stray away from comedy. And like you said, the acting here is not good. It's really sad when your best actor is Doug Walker in this movie. You don't agree?
You thought he was the best?
There wasn't a lot to pick from. Him, maybe Allison Pregler in her like bit part where she's like locked away in like a room away from the rest of the cast.
All right. Well, if we're just getting into that, comedy bits, I thought that was like the worst part.
Really? Oh my God. I actually didn't mind him in this. I don't know what it was. He popped in and I didn't mind it. Whenever he was looking in the mirror, like, I'm confident. I don't know what it was. I was like, okay, I can get into this.
Yeah, like his acting part was okay, but I'm just like, when he was trying to do like the goofy, like he was doing like he was doing improv, like at one point, like clearly, like when he's holding like these different guns, and I'm just like, ugh, like I feel like I'm watching a nostalgia critic video.
Yeah. When he's just going, he's holding the guns at the very beginning because he's an arms dealer, and he's like, like
Wascally Wabbit, remember like Bugs Bunny, and
Bugs Bunny's so funny
because Doug Walker really loves Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck cartoons, so he makes lots of references.
And I love that scene is shot all in his like his like you talked about earlier, his like warehouse, and you see it's supposed to look like a gun armsmith place, but there's like wigs and costumes and stuff in the background.
I'm like, couldn't they just get like a curtain or whatever to at least make it like kind of or not do like this big shot, because they had a close shot where it looked like kind of like a gun store, but then when they pull it back and he's got all this like random like wigs and costumes, it's like, okay, I guess this is Doug's warehouse.
Yeah, it's so I don't understand. Just why didn't they keep it at that one angle, that one shot? But we're getting into the subplot because this movie does have a B plot. But the main plot is the story of three sisters who haven't talked in a very long time, and it's about them getting together again for one night at a disco.
Question is this movie set in present times or is this set during the 70s?
I don't know. I was so confused. It's the opening title that I think is so confusing. It's like, what if the 70s lasted forever. And I was like, okay, so what is the premise? That it's modern times, but it's still like the 70s vibe, right? But by the end I was like, no, this is set in the 70s. I don't know. What was your opinion on it?
I thought it was set in the 70s, I guess, but there's like not a whole lot of aesthetics from the 70s other
No.
than like I'm wearing funky glasses, or like Doug Walker's again the only one that looks like he's out of the 70s because he's got like a really tacky shirt on and
Yeah.
like big like those pants that they would wear. But it just from what they're wearing, like all the actors and stuff, they're wearing like really modern clothes.
Yeah.
And it's does I mean, if they were trying to go for a 70s look, I didn't really get that impression.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get that impression. It just made me more confused than anything on the
Wait,
time period.
well, wait. When they talked to people on the phone, was it on a cell phone or was it like an actual landline? I can't remember.
Good question. I don't remember.
Okay.
But I feel
Well,
like if I would have seen a cell phone, it would have taken me out. Like I would have noticed, right?
they were on the phone at one point, but I can't remember, to be quite honest. But
Yeah.
um, but anyway, it's with the three sisters, like you said, and
Yeah.
uh, one of them, the youngest, is Lana,
Mm-hmm.
and she's been kind of tied up with these nefarious characters. One being Vince, also played by Brad Jones. And don't you
Yes.
love? In the first 5 minutes of the movie, we get a Brad Jones sex scene.
I love Brad Jones. Yeah, I think it's really awesome that Brad Jones casts himself in the only role in the movie that ends up having like sex or hard kissing. Uh, I don't know why he does this.
I
It feels
Yeah,
gross.
well, I mean, like he does that, and then in Paranoia, he had like
Mhm.
he's like
That
kissing
shower
like
scene.
he's in the shower kissing a topless woman, and
Yeah.
that's like just so like why? But I like that's not what I want to see at all. But that is, I mean, to be fair, like in real life, that is Brad Jones's like actual wife, like that he's with.
Oh, it
But
is. Okay, got you. Well, then that's a
so
little bit better.
that's not like it's not like he just got like one of his friends or whatever, or like an actor. So it
Yeah.
is like his actual wife. But anyway, they like they're kissing and having sex, and they're
Mhm.
doing drugs in the bathroom, and then she calls up one of her sisters and she's like, I need help. I need you to come get me. And
Mhm.
so then like the one sister who's in a loveless marriage with Lynn Cara.
Yeah, who would have believed it? That it would be that Lewis Lovehog would be a be such a jackass loser. Well, they treat him so poorly in this movie. Like they treat
Well,
him so awfully.
I want to talk about this later in the movie, but
Okay.
yeah, it's that part's the one part that kind of annoyed me a little bit. But
Hmm.
there's like a running gag though, like he's complaining like, oh, I ate too much, and and then she's like, well, why don't we just like she's like his wife is clear like let's go out and have fun. It's like I just want to go home and watch TV and take off my pants. Like,
Yeah. And he's complaining to his wife about her ordering a Caesar salad. Like what? Huh? Like, oh, you,
yeah,
my dumb wife just ordered a Caesar salad. Like, who cares?
yeah, like anyway, he's like a stick in the mud character, and then
Yeah.
she's just like, all right, I'm going to go out. I got to go save my sister.
Mm.
And she recruits the middle sister, I guess, and that's her name's Crystal, and she's a shut-in. She doesn't ever leave the house for whatever reason, which I guess they explain later. But yeah,
Yeah, they explain it, but I mean, she could still get out of the house. It's just she doesn't have to be around her sister because that's a big reveal that her sister slept with her husband and caused her divorce. So now they're not on speaking terms, and tonight's the night where that changes.
I guess since you brought it up, we could talk about this one scene. So
Yeah.
they showed the scene where because this is later in the movie, probably like almost
Mhm.
an hour in, and the younger sister Lana and her sister Crystal are up drinking, and then Crystal goes to sleep, and then Crystal's husband comes into the room. This is a flashback, and it is like one of the it is so bad because I don't mean to like this guy is clearly not a very sexy guy, but he's like coming in doing like this very sexy dance, and she's
Yeah.
like pretending to be turned on, like, oh wow, like look at you. And it's like,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, I don't know if she is just attracted to this man because he's like being goofy, or if it's like actually within like the universe she's like, oh wow, this guy's so attractive.
Yeah, I don't know. That scene's just kind of gross to me in general. Well, also it doesn't make sense because they talk about, she was like, oh, we were both blackout drunk because, and that's why we slept with each other. No indication of that in that scene. They seem just like normal, just dropping really stupid lines to each other.
Tipsy at best,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's not. I mean, if they were just like slurring their words and like come, like, and then just one thing led to another type of thing, but it's clearly like
Uh-huh.
it was very consensual and didn't seem like there was a whole lot of there
Yeah,
wasn't a whole lot of pushback on this.
yeah, I don't remember the lines exactly, but I remember there's a line where she specifically goes like, "Oh, you know what would be a lot of fun right now? Having sex." Like that would pass the time. So it's like pretty obvious.
This movie has absolutely zero subtlety in its dialogue, and
No.
and like okay, I know we're jumping all over the place, but there's another scene where Brad Jones wants to shoot a porno with his girlfriend Lana, and they're like, oh, maybe it has a good, like, one sister's joking, and it's like, maybe it has a good plot, and then he's like, no, it just has fucking like
Yeah, in his normal yeah, perfect. Because that's like the whole joke. So there's like a B plot in this with Brad Jones and the disco club, because the disco club runs drugs in the background, and there's a lot of money, and then there's a whole joke of like, oh, you're the only disco in town that doesn't do porn in its back room, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna try making porn now, kind of a deal. I honestly, the plot line about drugs and stuff, it felt a little convoluted. It kind of didn't make any sense at all.
honestly, I wish they had cut this whole part out.
Yeah.
I mean, and just focused on like the three sisters, and then like maybe Lana just has like a scumbag boyfriend instead of doing this whole like, because that was the part I cared the least about, because
Mm-hmm.
that's like the main, that's like the subplot, like the main B plot,
Mm-hmm.
and is that, and I just was like, I don't really care about this
No,
part.
it feels just very stagey, and like, and that's the part that I feel like is the most knockoff of like movies about 70s stuff. Whereas like the Three Sisters stuff, I haven't seen a lot of that, and I would rather see them because I think the three of them, bad acting aside, I think they all have chemistry together. The Three Sisters, I actually kind of liked seeing them talk to each other.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the movie. There was their relationship in there, and
Mm-hmm.
I I really like a lot of those movies too, where like a lot of the action kind of happens in like one night, like over the course of
Mm-hmm.
like one
Same
night.
here.
It's just stuff that they get a plot, and then it all gets resolved before the end of the night stuff, and it's kind of like they had this like one hectic night type of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
um, it does like, to me, like the mob stuff or whatever really drags the movie down a lot for me. But
Yeah. I think it's the least interesting part. And it's obviously filmed outside of the movie. And I don't like that feel either, because the whole mob boss, Alison Pregler, Obscurus Lupa, is obviously shot in a different room from everybody
yeah,
else. And there's a whole final scene. I mean, I'm skipping to the end. I know we're hopping around, but it's fine for this movie. But there's a whole end shootout, and then Brad Jones leaves, and he's like in front of a stage in like a theater, and I'm like, what is going on? Where are
yeah.
we? Because that's supposed to be upstairs from the disco. It's spatially, it makes zero sense.
It makes no, because
Yeah.
he's in one part where it's like a bright white room
Yeah.
type of thing, where it's like, it looks like a dressing room somewhere.
Hmm.
And, oh, you know what? Maybe that's the stage from Jesus, Bro.
It probably is. I wouldn't be surprised.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Maybe they're just like, oh, well, since we have all these people here, why don't we just shoot another movie
Yeah.
or whatever?
Yeah, kind of like X and Pearl, which came out this year. Like, oh, well, we can make another movie, so let's do it.
Could be. I don't know, but yeah, it's there's so many instances where they just jump around like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like there's like weird humor with the DJ played by Fard Muhammad, who was in Jesus,
Yeah.
Bro. Yeah,
Woo.
he's back. And he plays music really loud, and the guy upstairs hasn't slept in 36 hours.
Yeah.
But speaking of loud music, this movie is full of music that I know Brad Jones has not paid a single cent for. And it's like whole songs, whole 70s disco songs in this movie.
Like popular disco songs, like Good Times, like that song. And
yeah.
But
and it's an excellent soundtrack. I mean, great music, but it's just the whole time I'm like, huh.
I'm guessing since this is not, since this is like a Patreon exclusive movie, it's like, I guess he's technically not profiting off of it.
Exactly. And nobody's who is going to really enforce this. This movie is very, very obscure.
I'm going to send a legal notice to Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah. Whoever owns like all of these like old disco songs, I'm gonna send them a message.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's no score to this movie. It's kind of like American Graffiti, where like it's all the music playing in the background, kind of subtly, and then sometimes really loud. There's dancing. There is a disco dance contest, so you do get to see some bad dancing.
Well, yeah, then that kind of leads into the C plot, which is Doug Walker's character,
Rudy.
That's it. And he's kind of like you said, he owns the gun shop, and he sells the gun to Fard Muhammad's character, and he's like, oh, I just want to go to the club and get a date and win the dance contest. And see, like, his character was kind of like all over the place for me, though. And it's like, so like, because at first I thought he had a crush on Lana.
Me too. I thought that's what they were hinting at.
Right, because like he was like, I'm gonna do a dance contest with Lana, because Lana's his dance partner, and he's like, we got to win the big dance contest. And that was like the thing where he like somebody asked him, it's like, oh, are you a good dancer? He's like, oh no, but everyone's so drunk by the end that we don't really care. And but then later, when the other two sisters show up, he starts loving Crystal, the shut-in character, but then later he starts hitting on the third sister. Like,
that's the joke, is he's like, oh, I thought you were her, which is such a weird joke because they don't even look similar. But
they don't even look kind of alike. But okay.
But in this movie universe, they are sisters, and
they're triplets in this movie.
That's right, they're triplets. There are three sisters. But yeah, that was like one of the jokes that made me laugh, is when he kept hitting on the middle sister, the scene of him getting turned down multiple times. And you know what? I feel happy for the guy. He got her number in the end. Well,
there's kind of an epilogue at the end where Crystal, the sister, she's dancing with the little girl, and I'm like, is that supposed to be Doug Walker's kid? Like,
I was expecting that. I don't know why they didn't reveal like him, like, as like, oh yeah, it's me and you, no, it's just her with her kid. And this feels so tacked on. Why did he add this? Like, because it's like, oh, me and your three sisters hung out, and that's when things changed. It just felt really hokey. I don't know.
That scene was bad, because one, that wasn't even like the end of the movie, because it's like it shows them dancing, and then it shows that scene, and then it goes back to the club.
Yeah.
If you're having an epilogue, you don't jump back to the
no, you don't go, oh yeah, here's the end. All right, let's roll back to the movie.
Yeah, like, okay.
Yeah, and so that's right. The whole Brad Jones rolling into the disco with the club is after the epilogue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, can you even call it an epilogue? What do you call that? A middle log? I don't know. But
post epilogue. I
but
don't
yeah,
know.
I don't like this. I didn't really like the ending either, with Brad Jones just kind of rolling into the disco with a gun after being shot.
I didn't like it either. It just felt
Yeah.
really unnecessary. And plus, too, like, Brad's got his shirt off now,
Of course.
and he's like, and he's holding his stomach, but he's got like no blood coming out. Like, he's like, he got shot in the stomach, but I mean, I get it. There's not a whole lot of budget, but I'm like, he doesn't even have like any like visible blood. It's like it's almost like he didn't want to get his shirt like dirty.
Yeah, or like the people that own the places he was filming out of was like, hey, no, you're gonna make this place messy. Do not bring that in here.
do not use any blood effects in here.
Yeah. It's funny, for a no budget movie, there's quite a lot of extras. And I just was thinking about the scene where I forget who's talking at the bar. I think it's Brad Jones and the oldest sister. And the bartender's just in the back, and he like keeps like staring at them, and then like at the camera, and then like back at them, and then back. Like, he doesn't know what to do. It's the silliest thing.
Oh yeah, don't you remember that scene too, where Brad Jones says he would sleep with the oldest right. Sister? Yeah, it's like, would you sleep with me if you didn't know my sister? Well, yeah, I'd sleep with you.
Yeah. We didn't get to Linkara shows up in the disco.
Yeah. So that's like you say, he was a stick in the mud in the beginning, and he's kind of like, he's at home and he's kind of like practicing dance moves because he's like, I don't want to dance, and then he comes to the club to take his wife home, and she's like, I'm not going anywhere. And I kind of had this in my mind where, he was like gonna go there, go to the club, and then dance, and she'd be like, oh, I mean, like, he broke out of his shell, he's trying something new, but it the exact opposite happens.
Yeah, it was gonna be like, oh, I win my love back, our marriage becomes happy again. No, everyone makes fun of him, and the movie ends with them getting a divorce.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, he doesn't have he's a jerk to the sisters, the other two sisters. So it's kind of understandable, but like, in my mind, I was kind of thinking like he would loosen up or whatever. But and then like I said earlier, everyone's like, oh, we're so drunk, we don't care about how people dances. But apparently the way that he dances, like, everyone was just like, they were literally like pointing and laughing at him and booing at him.
Yeah. I don't understand. I didn't get that either, because I was like, in the movie's like storyline, everyone should love how he was dancing. At first, his dance was okay. I don't know. I feel like they're being a little too mean to the guy, but I mean, he is a jerk. But the movie has that weird thing where him and the main girl, they become like, they're really nice to each other for like 2 minutes, and then they get back into fighting after all of it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, as he shows up, okay, I guess the reason why I thought it would change, because he comes in kind of hot and like, like real pissed off, but then they actually have like this like tender dance moment scene, like where they're close dancing, they're slow dancing on the dance floor. And that's why I was kind of thinking like, okay, like, they're kind of reconciling. There's going to be this big moment where he has like a big redemption, and then she's finally going to fall back in love with him. But it was like, no, like, that meant nothing. It was bad.
Yeah, it led up to nothing. I guess, thinking about the writing process, maybe Brad Jones is like, oh, I'm going to subvert expectations, and I'm going to just make it worse. And also because didn't he just deal with like, because I was thinking about this, because this has like a cheating storyline and everything. I'm pretty sure he had just dealt with like being cheated on and a divorce and everything. So I feel like a lot of that got funneled into this movie.
I don't know, but it's very clear that he was hurt by something.
Yes, yeah. God, talking about it, it's a very interesting movie. I feel like it's a lot more interesting than Jesus Bro. I guess we talked about it already, but I think less of a budget and it feels more sincere. Even if the drug plot doesn't work for me, I feel like it's at least trying something interesting and not beating a dead horse with a bad joke.
Like I said, I would easily rewatch this movie again before I watched Jesus Bro, because Jesus Bro by the end felt like a total chore, and It was like this movie is just dragging on. I want it to end type of thing, where it's like there's nothing worse than a bad comedy with bad jokes, because it's like if none of the jokes land, it's kind of like, oh my God, I'm going to be in for a long ride here. And that's kind of how it was. But this one, I mean, it's very clear that they tried hard, and with no budget, with just a couple of friends. This would be kind of like if you got your friends together, like I said, and tried to make a movie. That's about, and you'd probably have a lot of real sentimental, like, hey, well, it's not very good, but we did it. We made it.
Yeah, we made something, and you know what? It wasn't complete trash. No, I actually, it's weird. I wouldn't recommend this movie. But if you have ever watched a Cinema Snob thing, well, you have to pay for a Patreon. But you know what? If you're like somewhat interested, maybe give it a shot. If you you don't think so?
Well, I mean, if you're already deep into the channel Awesome Lore, because that's about the only way you're going to get even a monocle of enjoyment, then that's about the only way I would recommend this. But if you have no clue who we are talking about and you're still like, then
you might
definitely would not. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. I definitely would not be like, this is like very deep on the iceberg right now. So
you're right. Like if there was a Channel Awesome iceberg, this goes like in like maybe the second to bottom tier, like, and not even that like weird of history.
So no, I do not recommend you guys paying money to watch this. This is not worth it. But like I said, if you are already in the Channel Awesome Lore and you know what we're talking about with my mentioning all these people, then yeah, I'd say give it a shot.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for Disco. What are we going to be covering on Thursday, Ryan?
Well, Nathan, on Tuesday, I'm falling.
Falling for what?
I'm falling for Christmas.
Oh my goodness. Is it already almost Christmas?
It is. And this is actually going to be our Christmas episode, because Christmas is going to be on a Sunday. So we won't have a show then. But this is the closest episode you'll get to Christmas. Mm-hmm. And that is going to be the movie Falling for Christmas, which is available on Netflix.
Perfect. All right. Well, if you want to send us an email, you can email us at driveindoublefeaturepodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at DIDFpod. But until next time.
Until next time.